Okay, so you're looking to build up muscle mass. Maybe you've tried in the past, you're trying currently, but the results just aren't as fast as you wish they were. And you really want to find ways to actually speed that process up. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 6 very effective tips that I really wish that I knew way back when I was first starting to build up muscle mass that are going to put you on the fast track to incredible muscular growth in a much shorter period of time. This video was sponsored by the National Pork Board. Step number 1, increasing time under tension. I seriously wish I knew about this years ago. My muscular growth would have been so much more significant. Very simply put, it's the amount of time that you keep your muscles working in a given set. For most people, we'll actually just take a look at what they do. They spend about 1 to 2 seconds doing each repetition, meaning a full set of about 10 repetitions. Yeah, it's only gonna last about 10 to 20 seconds. We can do a lot better than that. Now, if you actually focused on increasing that time under tension and performing each one of these repetitions for about 4 seconds each, that's 1 second on the way up, or the contraction, or the concentric portion of the lift, 1 second of an isometric hold. We're actually trying to focus on squeezing the muscle that you're trying to target as hard as you possibly can, and then lowering the weight on the eccentric portion for about 2 seconds, meaning a 10 rep set would take you on average about 40 seconds. Now, if you compare this with the typical 10 to 20 second set that most people do, yeah, the difference, it's fairly obvious. Now again, increasing time under tension doesn't need to happen for every single repetition or every single exercise or every single workout for the rest of your life, but intelligently incorporating it into your routine, having sets that are focused on strength where you're gonna be using explosive sets, and then also incorporating higher time under tension sets, you're definitely gonna notice a lot more muscular growth than you probably are currently right now if you aren't already incorporating a higher time under tension in your workouts. Step number 2, and probably one of the most important steps in this whole list, consistently intaking a high protein diet on a daily basis. You could be absolutely crushing it with your workouts, but if you skip this step right here, you're pretty much spinning your wheels. Now, when it comes to actually intaking a high protein diet, a lot of people find that it's pretty tough for them because of their budget. This is where high protein economical meats such as pork come in, either pork loin, pork tenderloin, or even ground pork. Now, when it comes to actually incorporating pork into your diet, yes, it's gonna be very economical for you and affordable, but there's also a lot of great health benefits that a lot of people tend to miss when it comes to thinking about pork. Pork tenderloin is actually considered an extra lean cut of meat. The USDA did an analysis and found that one serving of pork tenderloin had about 2.98 grams of fat. Meanwhile, skinless chicken breast had a total of 3.03 grams of fat per serving, meaning it's not only just an affordable cut of meat, but one that's actually more affordable and leaner than even skinless chicken breast. And when it comes to properly cooking pork, you definitely want to have an internal temperature of 145 degrees and let the actual pork sit out for about 3 minutes to cool off before you consume it. To learn more about incorporating pork into your healthy diet, please visit pork.org/cooking. And I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to the National Pork Board for sponsoring today's video. Tip number 3, focus on shortening and lengthening muscle groups as opposed to just focusing on lifting a weight from point A to point B. You see, one of the newbiest and most novice mistakes that I made back in the day was just, let's think about lifting the weight from point A to point B. When instead, if I would have thought about it as, let's move the insertion in the origin point of the muscle as closely as possible, as close as I possibly can, contract that muscle as hard as possible, and then lengthen those positions as much as possible, that would have really unlocked a tremendous amount of gains and accelerated my muscular growth well beyond what I would have achieved to this point even right now. You're gonna find that every single rep that you have and that you perform is going to be much more intentful and effective for every single set that you perform. And that's what's actually gonna help you to significantly skyrocket your results without you having to actually double or triple your volume or your frequency in the gym. Tip number 4, ensure that you give the muscle group that you just trained 48 hours worth of rest before you go in and actually train it again. A lot of guys who start to become ambitious and really want to get a lot of muscular growth in a very short period of time tend to think that more is better, when really this can be quite contradictory. When you start to train your biceps and your chest on Monday, you go back in biceps and chest on a Tuesday, when really you're causing more harm than good. One of the most important processes that you're actually going to need in order to sustain muscular growth is rest. By interrupting this rest and not giving the appropriate amount of time, which is roughly about 48 hours after an intense workout routine, you're really going to be standing in the way of your own results. Tip number 5, and this is actually going to go hand in hand with the resting of the 48 hours. If you really want to maximize your results and you have the time, that's when you can start to actually train your muscle groups 2 times per week. So if you trained your chest and your biceps, for example, on Monday and you want to retrain them, you should wait at least until Wednesday in order to retrain them after you've given the body the time that it needs to recover, repair, and to grow. A method that you can actually actually follow if you do want to apply this process is to do the first workout with a higher volume of weight, lower number of repetitions. This is mostly going to be focused on your strength component of your training. And when you revisit this muscle group a little bit later on during the week, that's when you can focus more on the hypertrophy, lighter weight, higher number of repetitions. This is going to yield you a lot of results on both sides of the coin, being able to stimulate strength gains and explosiveness while also developing more muscle mass and size in your physique. And tip number 6, if you actually want to give yourself the appearance of building up more muscle mass, then you definitely want to prioritize your big muscle groups such as your chest, your shoulders, your lats, and even your traps, because they're gonna be right around your face level. And just from having people look at you in the face, they're gonna notice quite a significant amount of results. I just wanna make a hypothetical example here. Let's say we got 2 clones, okay? Clone number 1, he's only training his biceps for the next 30 days. Clone 2 over here, he's only training his back for the next 30 days. Now, they're gonna be training the exact same amount of times per week, for the exact same duration, the exact same intensity. At the end of that 30-day period, or that month-long period, both clones have gained about 10% muscle mass in their targeted muscle group. Now, simply because clone number 2's targeted muscle group was way larger than that of clone number 1's, the back versus the biceps, the total poundage of muscle mass gained by clone number 2 would be significantly larger than clone number 1. So when it comes to prioritizing your workouts, you always want to put your most attention, your most time, and your most intensity, aka the beginning of your workouts, on the larger muscle groups, because those muscles are going to yield the most overall muscular growth in your entire body. So there you guys go. That concludes today's video. I really hope that I was able to present you with a ton of great information about actually speeding up your muscular growth. And if you made it this far in the video, then be sure to leave a comment down below letting me know where you're from. I'm always very curious about where you guys are from around the world, which country, which state, which province. And also be sure to smash that like button down below. And please also hit the bell notification icon. YouTube's being really weird lately. And I'd also like to take this moment to say thank you to the National Pork Board for sponsoring today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one.